Hey, Dave from Geeky Guys here. I thought I'd pop on just to have a quick word about the new Masters of the Universe film, which is going to be coming out very soon on the 5th of June by Amazon, MGM Studios and Mattel, of course. And asked the question, am I looking forward to seeing this new movie, this new version of Masters of the Universe? Well, we'll answer that later on in the video, but I think for now we should go back and have a look at what's gone before, where this all began, what we've had over the years, and how that relates to this new production. And have they been faithful to some of the old stuff? Is there something in particular in the past that they're particularly stuck to, or is it a mixture of everything? I suppose just a little bit of how I started off with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. For me, like many others, it was in the mid-1980s on a Saturday morning, good old Saturday morning cartoons. I remember sitting and watching it in my living room at home with my parents, and sat at family members at my auntie's living room watching it, and just being really amazed and really enjoying all the action and all the humour, the silliness, obviously the big times of peril, had to save save the world every week kind of thing. And obviously Eternia and how colourful and wonderful that was, and all the magic and technology, and obviously alter egos, obviously, which we'd already had with Superman and Batman, and this was another alter ego, obviously Prince Adam and He-Man. So yeah, I basically started off at like a lot of the OG original He-Man fans with watching those original cartoons. Obviously, the original Filmation animated series ran from '83 to '85, and like I say, was brilliant. It was kind of like there's been probably to this point the main and best version. The original is still pretty much the best, although some, as I'll describe later, have come close-ish to it. But nothing can really beat the original, and I suppose you can never beat that original feeling of the original nostalgia from the time, can you? I mean, once you've done something once, the second time's never as great, never as sweet, is it? So I suppose it's a difficult task and an unfair bar to set, really. So yeah, we have those original set of cartoons. With He-Man fighting against Skeletor, battling for Eternia, and we had something that we had in a lot of the other cartoons at the time as well, same as in Thundercats and a few others, where you had like the social commentary on like morality and morals and values and being a good person, being a good man, and using your words rather than your fists and things like that, which although sometimes you do have to use those, as they showed in the cartoon many times. But they had that whole thing, same as in with Transformers and Optimus Prime as well. They very much had the how to be a good person, how to fight for the side of good and not be evil, not be an arsehole, basically. How to respect your elders, respect your parents, how to be kind and generous and spirited and adventurous, and all those things. And all those things came out, and they did the Prince Adam monologues where he'd really push all that kind of thing about doing things right and eating well and eating healthy and all those sort of things. And it's probably something that we take for granted a little bit now, but back in those days it was. And for some people, as well, as people have described over the years, they perhaps He-Man, Optimus Prime, Lino, people like that were the only sort of elder wise speaking characters that they had in their lives. If they didn't have one parent, or they didn't have any parents, or their parents weren't particularly good people, you had those kind of fictional characters to fall back on and to teach them those values and those good ways of living and doing the right things. So it was very important. It wasn't just entertainment, it was life coaching kind of as well. And lifting people up when they were down and fighting back when you think things are hopeless. All those sort of things were in that original cartoon. And I think that's one of the reasons why some of the later stuff, like we'll talk about in a minute, didn't have that element. And so you're missing that kind of magic of He-Man, where it had that kind of educational element in it, and getting people to think about who they were as people and what they were doing day to day and how they were treating other people and how they were judging people and things like that. Inclusivity, which we talk about a lot now, that was in He-Man back then. So they did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of stuff right, and they did it probably way beyond, way ahead of their time as well. When we look at the things that are going on today, and that are talked about day to day in the news and in everyday life. It was all there back in 1983. So yeah, that's what we had with the original show. We then had the Secret of the Sword movie, a TV movie, which saw Prince Adam, He-Man, travelling over to Etheria to rescue his twin sister Adora. Obviously we also know as She-Ra, and battle the Horde and Hordak and try and help her free her world. And get her to realise her destiny as She-Ra, and obviously reunite with He-Man, her twin brother, and with obviously her father back in Eternia. That again was a nice continuation. It was a slightly different feel about it because it was a movie as opposed to a TV show episode, but it also did have a lot of elements of the normal episodes in it as well, just obviously feature length. But yeah, that was good. That was a nice continuation. It was kind of carrying on what had been done before, continuing the story. So that was good. We liked that. Then we had the, obviously they had to continue on, and then She-Ra had to have her own series, and obviously that was a good thing for giving the power to the ladies, to the girls as well. We had the She-Ra Princesses of Power series from 1985 to 1987. Obviously back in Etheria, fighting the Horde and Hordak, whose we know has a lot of deep ancient connections to Skeletor. And that was very much in the same vein as He-Man. And I would say there were certain elements in it that were girly, that was more for girls, but kind of boys could still watch it as kind of a continuation of the original He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series. Still linked back to those characters, and sometimes characters from Eternia would pop up in Etheria, and people from Etheria would pop up in Eternia. So they were kind of quite a nice combination piece. And like we say, it was really good for the girls as well, because the boys had got their cartoon, they got their hero, their person that was telling them how to perhaps live their life better, and now the girls had She-Ra, Princess Adora, telling them the same sort of thing. So they kind of went together very well. Continuations of each other, connected closely to each other, and very much giving out the same positive and informative and wise messaging to the audience, which I think is important, and we don't see enough of that these days. It's kind of everywhere, but it's nowhere. It's a bit weird. It's there a little bit. Sometimes it's rammed down your throat too much. It's a bit too aggressively thrown at you, whereas they would, very, very slightly and gently weave it into the story a lot of the time. So yeah, very, very good series, good companion piece. Then we had a special TV movie. We had the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special. I think I probably watched it once at the time, not seen it for over 30 years. Was it any good? I don't remember it being particularly amazing. I remember it just being about children stuck on Eternia, and He-Man, Prince Adam helping them, and She-Ra helping them celebrate Christmas away from the parents. And again, nice social commentary and bit of support and help for people that are not at home for Christmas, not with family for Christmas. So that was nice. It was nice messaging again, as they'd done in the previous stuff. So in the previous content. So yeah, very good for that. A little bit hammy, not massively entertaining, not a lot of action in it, but a nice little additional piece, Christmas special, and the right kind of nice messaging and supporting the right people, which was good. And then we had the live action movie in 1987 with Dolph Lundgren as He-Man and Frank Langella as Skeletor. Again, very hammy. It was kind of one of those where it was like based on the series, but there was a lot of stuff in there that wasn't connected, that didn't make sense, that wasn't in the original cartoon. A lot of characters that we would have wanted to be in it were not in it. Story was kind of predictable, what you'd expect. He-Man against Skeletor, and brought Earth into it, of course, which there's a lot of links there with Queen Marlena, He-Man's Prince Adam's mother, originally being from Earth, so it's fine to have Earth stuff in there. Wouldn't say it was done particularly well. It didn't have a very high budget, big budget, so I suppose they could only do so much. Dolph Lundgren was fine as He-Man. It kind of worked. He was a little bit better as He-Man than he was as Prince Adam. It's kind of like this, dumb-brained, muscular guy. So he didn't really quite pull it off as the full package, but he did okay. It was all right, and it was good for the time. If it came out now, obviously it would be pretty terrible and just a comedy film, but back then they did an okay job with it. It was all right, and it was exciting and cool to have a He-Man live action movie, which people had wanted since the original cartoon came out. So that was a great thing. As I say, it was perhaps a bit too dark, it was perhaps a bit too theatrical, a bit too operatic. But as I say, Dolph Lundgren's He-Man was reasonably good. Frank Langella was very good as Skeletor, very Shakespearean, very authoritarian. It was a big and powerful performance, so that was good. But I'd say the missing characters let it down, and the story and the pacing wasn't quite right. Not really what we'd be looking for, but it was all right. It was a live action movie and we enjoyed it, and it's kind of a cult classic now and you enjoy it for what it is, so that's fine. And then we had, after that, one of the ones that's slightly a down for me, we had the He-Man and the Masters of the not the Masters of the Universe, I'm telling you wrong, that's the New Adventures of He-Man from 1990 to 1991. Now this was a weird one because this was set like 10,000 years in the future, and Skeletor and Flug and the evil mutants are terrorizing a planet called Primus, and they bring Prince Adam back from the past, from Eternia, to battle him. And it was an interesting idea, I suppose, to set it in the future and take the characters out of their normal places and see how it works. And it was fine, but the Skeletor was terrible, didn't work at all. It was very, very comedic and not in a good way. The He-Man was a bit too soldiery, a bit too G.I. Joe. Didn't really like it at all. I thought it was a bit of a step backwards for He-Man, if I'm quite honest. It was different, it was good they tried something different, and you've got to applaud them for that, but yeah, not a fan of that one. I say we like familiarity, but if you're going to do something different, make it good, make it say something, and it wasn't particularly good, and it didn't particularly say anything, which for He-Man is not good, and the action wasn't great either, humour wasn't great either, so kind of died a death. I mean, if anybody really loves that show, then fair enough, and each to their own, but yeah, I didn't like that at all. And then we had the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe soft reboot from 2002 to 2004. Didn't really see much of that, to be honest, so I can't really say that I've got much of a judgment on that. It looked okay from the animation that I saw, the designs looked all right, music seemed okay. If you've got any thoughts about that particular show from 02 to 04, let us know in the comments, and let us know what you thought of it. But yeah, not one I'm particularly massively familiar with, that one. They now had the She-Ra and the Princesses of Power soft reboot show from 2018 to 2020. I did watch some of it on Netflix. It was okay. The designs I didn't think were particularly great. They were a little bit too Japanese anime to me. They didn't really match up with the original She-Ra show. Again, a lot of the characters that were in the previous one were not there. There was some that were. Madame Raz was in it, was particularly good, and it was all right, and the social commentary was there a little bit, which was good, and kind of telling people about doing the right things and living right and stuff, so they kind of got that in there a little bit. Action wasn't particularly great. The Horde was okay, but not quite scary enough. The Hordak was quite good, quite like the guy who played Hordak, who voiced Hordak, and that, I can't remember his name quite now, but he was particularly good. I thought he was pretty good as Hordak. So it was an okay show, kind of a 5-6 out of 10 kind of thing, I'd say. Worth watching, but certainly not similar enough to the originals for the nostalgia to be there. But for new fans of She-Ra, for getting a new crowd into the franchise, it was it was good for that, and it did quite well. It had a few series and did all right. So yeah, it's certainly not a disaster, not fantastic, but kind of a little bit in between. And then we had He-Man and the Masters of the Universe 2021 to 2022. Again, not one I'm massively familiar with. Didn't really see much of it, apart from, again, the animation looked all right. The designs looked kind of okay, but maybe a bit too futuristic. Music seemed okay. Didn't really see from the trailers much of like the social commentary or teaching people good things. Didn't see any of that, which you kind of need in He-Man and Masters of the Universe. But as its standalone cartoon, I think it seemed all right. Again, like the She-Ra new one, for getting people into it that haven't seen it before, was probably great for that, and probably got new fans of He-Man and Masters of the Universe. So it's really good in that aspect, and you've got to applaud that. And yeah, of course, get more people into it. Yeah, that's great. Again, it was kind of one of them that looked okay, not great, not awful. Again, if you are particularly liking that show, if you really enjoyed it at the time, if you're very loyal to it, mention in the comments what you thought, what made it good, what made it bad. That'd be interesting to know. So I say, not massively familiar with that one. And then we had Masters of the Universe Revelation, which was a continuation for a change, rather than a reboot, which we'd not had since the New Adventures of He-Man. But this time, the continuation was back in Eternia. It was back with He-Man and Skeletor. It was a continuation of the original 83 to 85 series. And they very much, as you could tell as you watched it, saw that it was trying to be very faithful to the original, and it was trying to bring in a lot of what the original had in. It didn't really so much have the monologues from Prince Adam in it, which was a little bit of a shame, but they did have the teaching of thinking about things, you know, and doing things in the right way, and living healthy and doing the right thing, and not judging, and inclusivity. All that kind of thing was weaved into the stories, though, which was good, and it was nice to see that back in He-Man Masters of the Universe. And that was really good. That was a massive aspect for me that I liked. Plus the fact it was continuation of the original show, not a reboot, not something that was far removed from the original like they had with the New Adventures of He-Man, which was too much of a detraction, I think. And it didn't bring in new fans either, really, on that one, so it didn't really do the job. But this one, with it being a continuation, with it being faithful to the original animation, the original designs, the original kind of communication and feel between the characters was the same. And obviously with Kevin Smith, who like directed and show ran it, wrote a few of the episodes, with him being a fan of the original show, he kind of knew what fans wanted, knew what he liked, and knew what was missing from previous iterations. And like everybody else, it was like we wanted to see more of the original, more of that nostalgia kick to go back to what had come originally. And I think they did that really successfully. It was really nice to kind of see that continuing battle between He-Man and Skeletor, but not forgetting what had gone on the years and years before. So it was very cool to see that, and trying something different as well, kind of in the battles between each other that they hadn't tried before. So they're not rehashing the same odd stuff again, just making it modern. So that was really good and important. And obviously we had real good all-star cast in that as well. Obviously we had Mark Hamill as Skeletor, who was fantastic. We had Chris Wood as Prince Adam and He-Man. We had Sarah Michelle Gellar as Teela. So an all-star cast. And I mean, you usually find that when He-Man has a production, most of the time, if the script's reasonable, people want to do it because they are a fan of the original shows. They've heard of it, they know it's a massive pop culture icon of a franchise, and they want to be involved. I mean, it's always going to be a plus on your CV doing a Masters of the Universe production. You're always going to get a lot of support from the fans, and so it's kind of a bit of a no-brainer to do it. And so we did really well with that. It got a lot of views, got very well praised in by the critics and by the fans. And so we got a second season eventually. It was a little bit of a wait, but we eventually got Masters of the Universe Revolution in 2024. Revelation was in 2021, so we had like 3 years, but we did have like COVID like dying out in the beginning of that time, so that's kind of fair enough, and strikes and things like that. And then in Revolution we had Melissa Benoist took over as Teela, which was interesting, as obviously she's the wife of Chris Wood. We had William Shatner, who played Keldor, kind of like the version of Skeletor before he became Skeletor, of like King Randor's twin brother. Then we had Gates McFadden as Queen Marlena. We had John Delancey as Granomir, so a nice Star Trek ensemble cast in there as well. And Liam Cunningham, classic old actor, has been in Game of Thrones and Pirates of the Caribbean and all sorts of things, as Duncan as the Man-at-Arms. And again, they did similar as the previous series. They stayed faithful to the original 83-85 Filmation series. Had a lot of the old classic characters in there. They had very interesting different battles between He-Man and Skeletor, and between Etheria and Eternia and Preternia and Purgatory, and all kind of things, and different things being done with Castle Grayskull and the Sorceress, and different things happening with Teela and her destiny as becoming the new sorceress. So they had a lot of things going on, a lot of different things from the original, but also a lot of familiarity with the original. So you had a massive nostalgia kick there, and I think they did really well with those two series, and they got very widely praised for both of them. Most people seem to like them. You still got the odd few that didn't like it, but I think for fans of the original, we could see exactly what they were trying to do, and they executed it pretty well. So yeah, and then that kind of brings us up to date. Obviously, on June 5th, 2026, we have the new Masters of the Universe live-action movie, directed by Travis Knight. We've got a good cast in there as well. Nicholas Galtazine as Prince Adam and He-Man, Camila Mendes as Teela, Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms Duncan, Jared Leto as Skeletor, Alison Brie as Evil Lynn, Marina Baccarin as the Sorceress, James Purefoy as King Randor, and Sam C. Wilson as Trapjaw, obviously made by Amazon MGM Studios and Mattel, of course. And from what I've seen of the trailer, I think, again, very similar to Revolution and Revelation. I think they're trying to stick faithful to the earlier stuff rather than the later stuff. So it looks like, from what I've seen in the trailer, a lot of the 83 to 85 is in there. Some of the 87 previous movies in there. So I think they've got some very good top content that they're basing this new one off, and bringing stuff over from those into this one. The visuals look stunning. Eternia looks bright and colourful, and magic and technology, which is what you want to see. I've always said that kind of, you look at Lord of the Rings and the epic that was, and if you have that in Eternia, you really got something special. And I think they've tried to do that as much as the budget can allow. They have got the stuff set on Earth, which obviously fans are not that happy about, but it looks as though they have minimised that, so it's just a small part of the movie, just to kind of establish Prince Adam and his character, and then, you know, swapping over to Eternia and seeing and experiencing all the stuff that we're familiar with. And I think that would be good for like fans that are not already fans of He-Man, Masters of the Universe, don't really know too much about it. I think it can bring in the new fans as well, which is kind of, it's the difficult pair to get right, really, to kind of do that, I would say. To get the new fans in and keep the old fans happy as well. But I think it looks like they've about done that. There's going to be some niggles here and there about casting, probably niggles about the story here and there, but I think overall it looks like it's going to be really good. Like I said, the visuals of Eternia look good. The actors that they've got to portray the roles look like they're pretty much spot on from what I've seen so far. All the elements are in there. Most of the characters we're familiar with from the originals, Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain, and stuff, as I say, they're keeping to a minimum, which is good. The music, we've not really heard too much of it, apart from a little bit in the trailer, which is pretty good. But it'll be interesting to see what we get in the main movie, if we get a few of the bits from the original Filmation series, which would be really good to see. Obviously, we had the obviously great music from Shukai Levy back in the day for the original Filmation series, Mysterious Cities of Gold, Ulysses. Did all that great music for that. So whether they have something similar to that, that'd be really good. But we'll see what they come up with. Bound to have a bit of 80s rock in there as well, I would imagine. There's rumours about Brian May recording a few guitar bits for it, so that'd be really, really good if that's true. But yeah, it looks as though like I say, the casting, the visuals looks really good. We've heard the voice of Skeletor now by Jared Leto, and it sounds suitable, sounds appropriate, scary enough, funny enough, which is what you need for Skeletor. You've got to be able to do the action, you've got to be able to do the humour, and the peril and the scary stuff, and it looks though he's going to be able to do all of that. The moving skull effect they've got looks really good as well, rather than just a static thing like Frank Langella had back in the '87 movie. So it's looking pretty good. It looks as though they can say the cast are spot on. I think you always find with this, when you do live action He-Man, you've kind of got to do what you do in Superman and what you do in Batman, where you've got to get the alter ego, you've got to get both of them right. And it does look, from what I've seen so far in the trailers and behind the scenes, I've seen that they have got Prince Adam and He-Man right. Because we've always seen in the past that if you don't get Clark Kent and Superman right and believable, if one of them doesn't work, then the portrayal as a whole doesn't work, and the movie generally doesn't overall work. And the same with Batman as well, Bruce Wayne Batman. You've kind of got to get both right for it to be really, really good and believable, and for it to be a massive hit. And obviously we're hoping that this Masters of the Universe new movie is going to be a massive hit, because we want to see more. We want to see the characters that are missing from this one come in. We want to see, obviously, where the story may go from here. You know, will they bring She-Ra into it, Prince Adora over from Etheria? That'd be really good if they did that and had the whole discovering the twin sister story. That'd be very, very interesting to see if they do that. Hopefully they'll be able to. And yeah, see where they could develop it from there, and like I say, bring in even more of our favourite characters from back in the day into the movie. It'd be really good. But yeah, the answer to the question is I am excited to see the new movie. I have high hopes from what I've seen from the trailers and the behind the scenes so far. Pretty stoked to see it. And it's going to be nice if we get you know, a few of the nostalgia kicks from the old stuff and a bit of the old music in there as well. It'd be really good and nice. So yeah, it's going to be good. It looks as though there's some preview screenings on the 3rd of June, and then it goes global, worldwide to most cinemas on June the 5th. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. And if you have any thoughts about it, obviously drop them in the comments below, and we can discuss all of that. Any of your thoughts and hopes for the new movie, what you'd like to see in the second movie. And also we'll do a follow-up video when the movie's been out and we've seen it. We'll give our thoughts and what they did right, what they did wrong, what they did so, you know, and what we want to see going forward. You know, let's hope that there's some more. Let's hope Masters of the Universe can be back, be big and back again, and be continuing. And it sounds like they're doing some video games, they're doing some comics, some TV spots. That'll be good. We'll get all that extra stuff to lap up, and obviously to promote the new movie as well. So it's going to be really good, and the cinema merchandise looks pretty cool as well. Definitely recommend looking at the AMC cinema merchandise. That looks pretty cool actually. So yeah, it looks as though it's going to be all good, and it's a good year for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So until next time, remember, you have the power, and we will catch you on the next one.